Okay, so I just coated this piece of paper for an experiment with watercolor ground. And I'm going to paint on it as if I was doing a regular watercolor. Now, I don't think I coated it. Smoothly and evenly as I could, but this is an experiment. And I just did it a few hours ago. I don't know how. It's supposed to be 24 hours, so I just want to see what I'm going to be able to do here. I'm going to just brush it normally, like as if I was doing any other watercolor painting. By the way, you might recognize this brush. This is the Frank Clark goat hair. It's not bad. It's not a bad brush. See, now already I could tell there's a difference here between like the amount of water that's going on. I don't know how this is gonna go. Might create an interesting effect. I don't know. But my plan was to do some on canvas eventually here. Alright, back in the water for that. Now we'll get some blue. Just try to create a light source here. Kind of like the way that's sitting on there. That I don't like. What that's going on there. Some more water on it. I feel like there's white mixing in here. I should have waited the whole 24 hours or not, but this is a good experiment to see how far you can go with it. And I don't know about wet on dry. I don't know about any of that. Because this is a new thing for me. Alright. Now that dries, well, I'll let the dog in. Now the container of this stuff doesn't say. It says, do not use heat to speed drying time. Now I think they're talking about the ground, the watercolor ground. By the way, this is Daniel Smith watercolor ground. Stuff looks, it's kind of liquidy. It smells like ammonia or something. I mean, it smells like any other paint, really, almost. So that's that. Got a pretty interesting coating going on here. I'm afraid to kind of do wet and wet on it. This wet. I wouldn't mind drying. I wouldn't mind adding a dry coat to it. I'm going to, hold on, I got to plug in my hair dryer. Maybe I'll edit this out if I feel like it. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can't do some drying here. And then what we'll do is we'll put a little mountain in there. Let me tilt it a little bit. Get some more light, starting to get a little dark, so we'll get a little more light in the situation. got an interesting look to it because of the brush strokes from putting in the brown. There's probably a smoother way to do that. I don't know that I'd use it on a whole entire sheet of paper. Definitely interesting to practice on. All right, let's do some mountain areas. Okay. I don't really have a whole lot of paint in this palette. A little too much water on the brush. Okay. Let's do a little, let's clean up the palette here. Get some interesting colors going. Still a little blue back here. And we'll do some brownish type mountains. Let's put it here. I'm fine with these mountains. The best thing to do with the mountains is like minimal amount of brush strokes. Minimal amount. Base in there, and I don't know. Let's do some ground areas. Do like a he's always sending me messages and texts when I'm wanting to do this. See, to me, painting on top of this, it has a whole different look to it. I'll have to see when I do this on canvas if... Alright, we're back again. And again, I mean, yeah, you can paint watercolors on this. Problem with that I'm seeing, though, is that it just doesn't react the same as paper. I have a canvas I'm drying this on, and once I get it dried, I'll do that one on here, but I don't know that it's going to react the same way. See, it just doesn't absorb in as... I mean, if you're used to painting on paper, this is going to be really different. But you can paint on it. I'm sure there's a little bit of a learning curve here. Maybe you just don't need as much water on this surface as normal paper. That might be one of the learning curves. It creates an interesting effect. Let's try to scrape Let me see if I can scrape some rocks in and see how that reacts. Although it's pretty wet, if I scrape a rock in now, it's gonna... See, I see some of this creamy colored stuff coming off into my paint and onto my palette. I think I didn't have a whole lot of paint in here. So whether or not it needs that full 24 hours to cure, I don't know. It probably does. Oh, I need some more color down in here. All right, let's try that. Scratch that out and see how it works with scraping. Some scissors in here. She got a new room key from a hotel. Wow, you could scrape it, but it looks weird. It doesn't look like the normal. It doesn't look like the normal scraping I normally do. It looks cool though. A cool effect to it. A little, just to pop them out a little bit. We'll see. I mean, this, if you can paint on canvas and wood with this, I guess it would definitely have some value then. Put a little bit back in here. Just to do that. Let's, you know what, I have light red on my palette. So let's make this more like fallish. The leaves on the tree. So stippling actually worked pretty good. And stippling works real good on here. Let's try lifting. I need I need a rigger, and I also need a paper towel. Okay, let's try to lift a little yacht out of the background here. Works. Works. Oh, a little too much. Does work though. Actually, looks pretty good. Let's put a little. It's probably a little too dark. Okay, let's try doing a little grass here. Oh, you know what else we do too? Seems to stay open for a while. Scratching some. Well, it scratches out real super easy. which is, it's actually a good thing. Tell you what, because we're having so much fun. We'll do some other branches here. Get some paint on this brush, huh? That would help. I can never seem to get enough on these rigger brushes. I don't know if it's me or the paper. Get some more water on here. I got my palette over to this side, so because my hand shakes a little bit when I do this. Now, I'm not going to do any more with that. I'll put a little bit more grass over here. Good for grass, well. Let's put a little, look a little more realistic. Let's do what I like to do, which is put a couple birds in. I use a pen for birds because my hand shakes, and I don't want to mess up the painting at the very end, putting in a silly bird. So there's a couple there, and then I'll sign it over here. That's it. That is the painting going over watercolor ground. Still a little bit wet, but there it is. Try to take a photo. I can feel it's, the whole thing is pretty wet. It feels waterlogged. I'll dry it, and then I'll put up another, I'll put up a photo of it at the end of this. Okay, so here is the final painting dried using, I applied watercolor ground over the top of this paper and I let it dry for about, 2 hours. It's supposed to be 24, but just to show you how some of the textures and stuff look. There's the tree and the stippling. Here's the mountains in the background light. I mean, you know, the paint did kind of diffuse in there pretty nicely, I gotta say. There's the little yacht back there, little landmass. There's a little hair in there. The light coming through. There's where I scratched in. Scratches really nicely. That's it. Painting over watercolor ground that's dried after 2 hours. Definitely went on different. I think it probably needs more curing time for the Daniel Smith. But that's it. Thanks for watching.